So one is use state, use effect. Another one use context. Right. I hope you got a clarity on context. Huh? Right now, what is the yesterday we discussed? What is the lifespan of context? Lifespan of context. Lifespan of context is until the component is mounted. Until the component is mounted. Once component unmounts, the context is removed. The context of component will be until the unmount of component. Once the component unmounts, the context is removed. So if it is still mounted, any another component running inside it can access its context, right? So one final question is, what is when you can say when context ends? So on component unmount, context will end. Right? Now here, how we can manage the data, then we have to understand another use cookies. Use cookies is another important hook, right? So technically, first point, what is a cookie? In web development, what is a cookie? Actually, cookie is a simple text document. Cookie is a simple text document. These days, you cannot see those text documents easily because operating systems are hiding those cookies actually. Few years back, until Windows 7 also, until Windows XP, and Windows 7 Service Pack 2, I think up to that moment, we were able to see the cookie files, right? We can see those cookie files. That means cookie is a text file. You can search for the file, you can open the file, you can see the content in the files. But now operating systems became so complex that for security reasons, you cannot see those files. Earlier, we can see temporary internet files also. Now it is not possible. Temporary internet files means after you visited some websites on my PC, I can later go and see what files you opened, what sites you opened, not from history. Offline data is stored actually, a lot of information is stored. So those days gone now. So advanced operating systems, they hide cookies, they don't show the location and the file. That is the reason now recent developers know cookie as a memory. Right now, recent developers knows cookies as memory of storing data, but they don't know that cookie is a text file. Right? Actually, cookie is a text file. Cookie is a text file. So it is a simple text document. What is the purpose? The purpose of this text document is it can store client authentication details. It can store client authentication details. So it can store client authentication details. Authentication details like user ID, passwords, security tokens, and all. We can store the authentication details. Actually, you can store the authentication details in two ways. That means, so authentication details. One is temporary, and another one is permanent, persistent. We call as temporary and persistent. authentication details can be stored temporarily and permanently. Temporary means actually authentication details, why to store? We have to store the authentication details so that we can use those details later whenever we need them. From this text document, we can access and use them. So if cookie is temporary, then it is called as in-memory cookie. In-memory cookie. We call it as in-memory cookie. If cookie is temporary, then it is called as in-memory cookie. That means, so simply, actually, it is deleted automatically when browser is closed. It is deleted automatically when browser is closed. So if cookie is temporary, then it is called in-memory cookie. Actually, it is deleted automatically when browser is closed. So actually, you also have, if cookie is persistent. If cookie is persistent, that means if cookie is permanent, right? Permanent, then it is called as persistent. Persistent cookie. We call it as persistent cookie. Actually, it can store in your hard disk drive. It can store in your hard disk drive. So for a duration of specified time interval. It can be for few days, few weeks, few months, forever. For a duration of specified time interval. That means don't say that cookie is temporary. Cookie is permanent and cookie is temporary. Depending on requirement, we can create. Cookies can be permanent or cookies can be temporary. When you create a cookie, you decide. So whether it should be temporary or it should be permanent. If it is temporary, it is stored in browser memory. If it's permanent, it is in the hard disk. It is stored in the hard disk. So what is the purpose of cookies? To store all your authentication details and use them across multiple requests. That means cookies are used by web applications to store client authentication details and use across multiple requests and components until removed, right? So that is what the cookies concept is. So cookies are used by web application to store client authentication details and use across multiple requests and components until removed. But one problem is because cookie is a text document, as I already told you that cookie is a text document. Actually, cookies can be infected with virus. That means if anybody asks, like, tell me what are the sources of internet, so from where virus may come to my PC. That means in which way virus comes to your computer? From internet. What is the source of virus? That means from internet virus comes. Is it okay? That statement is okay. From internet, virus can come to your PC. Suppose you copied some files from your friend's PC through a flash drive, hard drive disk, any flash drive, then virus may transmit. Through internet, sometimes people who are not technically good, they say that don't open that website, virus will come. Right? So is it serious point? No. Opening a website, virus will come. That is not the point. When you open a virus or open a website, that website, if saves a cookie into your computer, then virus will come. Because that cookie is a text file. Text files can be easily infected with virus. Easily infected. So the only one carrier of virus on internet is cookie. Cookies are the virus carriers on internet. That is the reason, generally for safety reasons, these days browsers will specially block cookies from every website. Block cookies from every website. That is the reason it is as per the cyber security rules. Every website should ask for cookies and continue as per cyber security rules, right? Currently. Earlier, we don't have that. Earlier, what we can do is, even now also, we can disable cookies on browser. When you disable cookies on browser, cookies will not work. If cookies are disabled on browser, any website cannot use the concept like login. 100%. There is no chance of login from any website if cookies are disabled, because every website have to maintain your login details only through cookies. And if cookies are disabled, then it cannot work. It cannot work. So here cookies can be infected with virus because they are text files, they are virus carriers. So cookies can be disabled by browser. Can be disabled by browser. So now in interviews, they ask a question, how a developer knows the status of cookies on client browser, whether they enabled or not. How a developer knows the status of cookies on client browser, they are enabled or not. Because you cannot use any cookies programming without knowing this point at all, without knowing cookies enabled. For example, see, let's go to any browser. I'm using Chrome, right? That is the Chrome browser, right? I will use the Chrome browser. So, and here, Chrome:/settings. I will open Chrome settings. In the Chrome settings, I will search for cookies and I will see site settings. In site settings, you see here cookies are allowed, and I will go here and I will say block all cookies. Block all cookies. Remember, a browser is giving an option called block. That means the term block is very harsh. If it says disable, then it's okay, satisfying. It doesn't hurt me. If I say I blocked you, that hurts. That is very strong word, right? They are using the word block for cookies, means it's very too much. Disable is the right word to politely say that temporarily, later I will. But here blocking is also temporarily, but it is serious. So that means there is serious threat with cookies. That is the reason we can block cookies. They given that facility of blocking. See now, I blocked cookies on my browser. Let's open Gmail. Let's open Gmail. In Gmail, I will log in with my email account and click on next. Next step, after I entered ID, it has to store this ID and next ask for password. Then you see it says your browser disabled cookies. How they know about my browser? In another browser, cookies may enable. It will log in. But in this browser, it is disabled. How come a developer knows this and immediately prompts you that on your browser cookies are not enabled, please enable? Now, if you ask, sir, what is alternative? How to log in now? There is no alternative. Enable cookie, login. There is no chance, nothing. You don't enable cookies, there is no concept of login at all. Use another browser where cookies are enabled or enable cookies. There is no alternative for this. Mandatory. Now the question, how you know that cookies are disabled or enabled? How to know this? So it's very simple. Actually, this can be done. So by using JavaScript, navigator object, Actually, navigator is a JavaScript object which will get information about browser. That means before you send anything to client browser, first you should know his browser abilities. That means if I try to open Gmail on Edge, it will show me a tip. It will say that better use Chrome. How it knows I am not using Chrome? How it knows which version of browser I am using? It asks me to update. It asks me to update. So that means it says that you are using old version browser, please update. How it knows my browser version? All this is done by navigator. Navigator object in JavaScript have a properties like cookie enabled. Cookie enabled is a Boolean property. That means it will return true or false. So by using this navigator object, a developer can know the status of cookie and he can send reasonable messages. That means we can say that please enable cookies, then only you can log in. Right, this message we can display. For that we need navigator.cookie enabled. So navigator object have a lot of things. This is cookie enabled. So navigator object have a lot of properties like navigator dot app name. App name is browser family name. Navigator dot plugins. Plugins is an array. That means what plugins are supported. For example, you try to watch some PDF document on a browser, then browser says that this document cannot open. Please install plugin. Right? That means we need some special plugins for watching certain type of content. Right? Sometimes you are trying to watch movies, then it will say you need a Flash plugin. Please install that plugin. However, Flash is outdated now, no more. Few years, one year back only, because from January 22 they removed Flash plugins from browsers. And before that, when you try to watch YouTube or movies on your browsers, if Flash, they ask for Flash plugin. Right? So that means how do we know plugins are available or not? By using navigator. Browser related every information is collected by the client developer before he sends anything to browser. Even I am sending a simple PDF document, I should know he can open it or not. then I have to put an alert saying that your browser don't have PDF plugin, please download. Otherwise, he will be waiting for that on the screen and screen is empty. He will complain on us. He will say that your website is not working. He don't know that he doesn't have a plugin. We have to tell him, right? That means clients are complete illiterate about technical things about internet, right? They just use internet without knowing technically. Then everything you have to tell, right? You have to prompt that this is missing, do this, do enable this and all this. Now you can see here, we will put this, means make sure that cookie enabled or not. First you have to verify that. Let's see here. Suppose yeah, now I will go into this. So yeah, some file is there, demo file is there, right? Yeah, in this demo file, let me write a simple one, right? Like here I am just writing. So document dot write. So navigator, I will write a condition simply. If navigator dot cookie enabled is equal to true. So document dot write. So you can log in. I'm just giving the message. So document dot write, I will say that please enable cookies on your browser. This message we will give. And see, this I am using on my general Edge browser, and where cookies are enabled, then it says you can log in. I will copy this and I will take this to my Chrome browser where I disabled cookies and open that here. It says please enable cookies on browser. Now what I am doing here is I am enabling the cookies, allow cookies, and refresh one more time. It will say you can log in. This is very important. That's what Google people also doing. Anybody will do the same. Even Facebook, Google, YouTube, anywhere you try to log in, that is the message you will get if cookies are disabled, right? That means first we have to verify whether cookies are enabled or not, right? Cookies are enabled or not, that is important. Okay, now how to use cookies actually? So React allows developers to use various third-party cookie libraries. Allows various third-party cookie libraries. That means you can use a lot of cookie libraries. So different cookie libraries are there. You can use any of this. Already I told you now. You can go here, npmjs.org, and here you search for which one? React cookie. I will search for React cookie. You can search for React cookie, and it will show you various cookies available. Yeah, you can see so many are there. You can see React use cookie, React cookie, so many third-party libraries, React cookie disclaimer, cookie notice, JS Smart, React cookie consent, so many are there, third parties, right? So you can use any of this. So let's go with this one, React cookie, right? I want to use this React cookie. Then you can see, as I told you, third party. It will give you help about how to configure, how to handle, and all these things, documentation, because these all third parties and all are MIT licensed. That means you are on your own, right? You are your own, right? And this is the installation of the cookie, right? Okay, so we will use this React cookie. So allows various cookies, third party cookies. So we have a React cookie. We will use this. How you can do that? npm install React cookie and save. That is cookie. We are installing this cookie. And now I told you yesterday that every hook is a service. Every hook is a service. Every hook is a service. That means now cookie is provided as a service by React cookie library. Is provided as a service by this library. That means yesterday we discussed that a service means it will have a provider and an injector. Now here cookie provider, that means the provider is, so we have cookie provider. This is cookie provider. Cookie provider is there, just like our yesterday's context provider. So you have a cookie provider. This is inbuilt. Now I don't need to tell what is the role of this. What is the role of this? What is the role of cookie provider? The role of cookie provider is locating the cookie in the memory, storing data into cookie, accessing the data from the cookie. That means locating the cookie storage and cookie locating. This is managed by whom? Cookie provider. That means any component, so or several components, if they are trying to use cookies, they must be inside this cookie provider. That means the components that have to use cookie, the components that have to use cookie must be within the scope of cookie provider. Understood? Within the scope of cookie provider. They must be within the scope of cookie provider. Within the scope of cookie provider. Within the scope of cookie provider means, so you have to use a cookie provider, and here your component. You have to configure your component. So the cookie provider must be inside this. That is actually that. Your component must be within the cookie provider. In that component, another component. There can be any hierarchy, because cookie is stored in browser memory or cookie is stored in hard disk. You can access from any component. Any component in your application can access cookie, right? That is how you define. So, okay, provider is responsible for locating the cookie. So who is responsible for creating cookie? Provider is for locating cookie, storing data into it, right? Creating cookie. Yesterday, context is created by create context. Context is accessed by provider, right? That means here, so the cookies are created by use cookies hook. Cookies are created by use cookies hook. Actually, it is not just created. So use cookies hook is responsible for so many things: creating cookie, so reading cookie, and removing cookie. All these things it can do. That means use cookies is responsible for creating the cookie and reading the cookie and removing the cookie. So how do we create the cookies? How do we configure and create the cookies? So that means syntactically, so we have to define, so constant cookies. How do we define the cookie? So here we have the options. three options are required. One is cookies is a getter, and set cookie is a setter, and remove cookie is a remover. That means one for storing, another one for reading, another for writing, another for removing. So, and it should be managed by whom? Use cookies. And use cookies, actually, use cookies is generally, it is an array of string types. Use cookies is an array of string type. That means here you have to define the cookie name. That means you can have any number of cookies. That means one cookie for user ID, another cookie for password. Sometimes user ID and password both are stored in one cookie only, sometimes separate. These days we store separate because you know that when you say sign out completely, two options will be there. Sign out means what happens? Sign out and remove. These days they are giving two options. Na? Sign out means you will sign out, but still your ID will be there. Right? Your ID will be there. Only password you have to re-enter. Right? So that is one cookie they removed, another cookie still kept. So these days we maintain separate cookies. Earlier we have only one. Sign out means both. But now you can keep the ID until they remove the ID also, right? If you remove the ID. So this is configuring cookie. Now this is creating the cookie. How we can read the cookie? This is creating. This is creating. What is the second step? So how to, this is configuring. This is configuring. Configuring cookie. Okay. What is the next syntax? Next syntax is creating cookie. Creating cookie. How to create cookie? To create cookie, we have to use set cookie method. Am I right? We have to use set cookie method. By using set cookie method, you can create the cookie. Set cookie method, it defines the cookie name. So cookie name, you define the cookie name, and you have to define the cookie value. Understood? Cookie value, what value you want to store. And you have to define the cookie options. In an object, you have to define cookie options. Cookie options, you have cookie options. This is how we design the cookie. That means set cookie, cookie name, cookie value, and cookie options. What are cookie options? There are so important cookie options. The first cookie option, actually, important cookie options, actually, cookie options are nothing but, in the cookie options, we have an option called path. Path is nothing but it defines the virtual path. So where to store the cookie location. Virtual path, you can define slash. Slash represents root folder of current project, current application root folder. And you can also define expires. That means it defines the lifespan. That means how much time it will be there. Then if you give expires date, then it will expire after that particular date. That means it will stay permanently. That means here cookie, I told you, is temporary and permanent. If remember, note here important is, if expires is not defined, then it is temporary cookie. Understood? That means it will be there in the browser memory until browser is open. Once you close the browser, it is gone. So if expires is defined, then it is stored in hard disk drive. So that means after that particular day, it will expire. It will store permanently. That means How to create a permanent cookie? Just by giving expires. If you don't give expires, then it is temporary. That is simple point. You can keep expires for after 5 minutes, 10 minutes also cookie may expire. Depends on the requirement. So syntactically we have to write like this. So syntactically how you define is you have to write like this: cookie value. Here we have to define path. Path is slash, and here I define expires. Expires is a date. How to define date in JavaScript? You know, by using new date constructor. Am I right? Date constructor will take date. Date is, so here we will define in year, month, day. Year, month. So month is suppose 0, 7, and some day is 10. And you can also put time. So that means you can also put like some 2022. 2022. You already know now how to write date and time in JavaScript. How do we store date and time? Just a space, you can configure the time. That means it is nothing but from today, or it will expire after this date, after this time. You can set date and time. You can configure the date and time like this, right? If expires is not defined, actually these options are optional, not mandatory. If they are not defined, it will be temporary. It is stored temporarily. Otherwise, it is permanent, right? This is how we set the cookies. So first point, we have to configure the cookies, right? We have to configure the cookie. Second point, you have to create the cookies. Now, next syntax is reading cookie. Reading cookie. We have to read the cookies. How do we read the cookies? Same. Already we have a cookies dot cookie name. That's it. To read the cookie, we have to just use cookies dot cookie name. It will access the cookie and display. Another important is how we can check cookie available or not. Cookie availability. Because next day, suppose I opened Gmail in my browser, gmail.com I type. When I type and hit enter in the browser, first it will verify is already cookie available or not. If cookie is available, then it will take credentials from that cookie and it will log in into my account automatically. It will not ask to log in. That is what happening in your Gmail in your PC. You don't sign out, close the browser. Then you open browser and enter gmail.com. Directly your account will open. Why? Because cookie is still available and it will open. So do one thing, go to history, clean history. After cleaning history, again login. After again cleaning history, open Gmail. This time it will ask to login. How it is verifying? Cookie available or not. If cookie is available, it will continue. If not available, it will ask to login. That means even you given 10 days, that cookie can be deleted. That means they stored permanently for 10 days. It's not mandatory that it should be 10 days because you know you can clean your browser history. Na? You clean your browser history, you can delete cookies immediately also. Even they given the option of expires, it depends on how long he will keep cookies in his PC. He can delete immediately cookies. If he clear all the cookies, then no chance. You see, already there is an option where history, yeah, in history, where is that here? Yeah, you see, clear all browsing data. Then it will open this. You see, in here, there is an option. You see, they will give you the options like cookies. Huh? They will give an option cookies and other site data. That means if I select this and clear, then even you keep 10 days, it will be deleted. Where it is stored, from where it is deleted, this is something you cannot know in the current generation. That is difficult. We have to hack this. That means we have to hack the operating system file systems. We go into the file systems, we can recover it, but it is very complicated now. Early days, we have a certain path. That means 10 years back, 10 years back, 7, 8 years back, when we used to teach about cookies to the web developers, we used to give a path saying that go here, you can see your cookie. Means in your computer, C drive program files somewhere in a path, the cookies are available. But now, no chance. But you can still view the cookies temporarily in your browser debugging tools, right? I will show you that. So technically, this is one point. So how to check the availability, it is there or not? Simple. Actually, we have to just use cookies dot cookie name is equal to undefined. Understood? We have to verify, is it undefined or not? If it is undefined is equal to true, then what does it means? So cookie not available. Understood? If undefined is equal to true, then cookie not available. Undefined means it is not there, right? How to, not every third party. Some third parties, how they verify is, they verify like this: cookie name is equal to empty. They verify empty. Some third parties, this particular third party we are using, it verifies using undefined. You have to check that in their library, what is used for verifying cookie, because some cookies are verified with empty, some cookies are verified with null, some cookies are verified with undefined. This verifies using undefined. If it is undefined, then we will do something else, right? Okay. This is checking cookie availability. Then how to remove cookie? Finally, sign out. Na? That means remove cookie. How do we remove cookie? To remove the cookie, we have a remove cookie. Remove cookie. There is an option remove cookie. And here we have to just define the cookie name. Remove cookie is already configured. In configuration, we have three things. What are those? So we have cookies, set cookie, and remove cookie, right? That is how we need to configure. These are all the points about cookies. These are all the points about cookies. How do we configure and use them? Let's implement this, right? We will design a good example after learning these hooks with routing. I will show you routing concept. In routing, we will see, because still we haven't learned navigation. So in routing, we will learn navigation. There we will design a good example. That means we will use backend database. We will use server-side technology. We will create a registration form and login. That means user can watch your website only after successful login. If he tries to access any page, he cannot access until only home page, right? To access any page, he must register and login. This we will implement, right? So for that, first we need to learn navigation also, routing techniques also. For that, we will see first cookies, how to do this, right? Let's go and design a component here. First, we have to install the library, right? That is npm install React cookie save. Okay. I am downloading and installing the React cookie library. Okay, that is fine. React cookie library is installed successfully. We will start also, and meanwhile, we will add one component. Let's add a component. Suppose cookie demo, or say user login. Okay, .js. User login.js. We will write a export default function user login and return here. Return, yeah. Here we will just design Fluid. Yeah, okay. So, and here we will design a simple login screen. So user login. Let's take a data list with data term user name. So input type is text. Okay. Another is password. And input type is password. Okay. And let's keep a button. So login. That's fine enough. Now our concept is user login. And here very important now user login have to use cookie provider. Now our application must use a cookie provider. So first step, what you have to do is you have to import what? Cookie provider from React cookie. From React cookie library, you have to import cookie provider. And you have to use that cookie provider here. Cookie provider you have to use here. Cookies provider you have to use here. And this cookies provider will define the scope. This scope is entire application now because I am giving in index now. That means entire application is going to use your cookies because cookies are at application level. You have to access from any component in the application. So here we will use, what is it? User login. User login component is added into this now. So this is now user login is ready to use the cookies. That is how we need to first configure the options. Okay, next we need to create cookies, configure cookies, and do everything here. So what we will do? So we will import. So we will import use state. So, and I will write temporarily use effect, and that is from React. Okay, next we will import. We have use cookies from React cookie. Use cookies from React cookie library. We have to import this. We need to define. Okay, fine. Now one more option here. Now we need to configure the cookies. That means we have to create a constant. And what is it? Cookies and set cookie. And we have remove cookie and use cookies. Use cookies, you can see it is a string array. That means an array string, cookie name, user name. I'm just using that username cookie, right? That is the username cookie. So that is cookie configured. Okay, next I will keep here a constant. So user details, set user details. So use state. So it is a object with the username empty, and we have password also empty. It is having these details, username and password. So these are user details. We configured the user details. Fine. So we have cookies defined. Now what should happen is when user enters the username and password, we have to collect them, and we will need to store the username inside the cookie. So just one simple step we will see here now. What to do? We have to collect the details. Then function. We have to handle user name. So with event argument. Yeah, another. So we have a function. So handle password. So event argument. Another function is handle login. So that is details. What username should do is set user details into that. So username is e.target.value. Okay, and password is user details dot password. So I will copy this for handle password. On handle password, we will use user details dot password, username, and here e dot target dot value. Okay. Now, when user clicks login button, that means that username must be stored in cookie. Here we have to set cookie. We have to set the cookie. What is the cookie name? See, it is already alerting that cookie name. Cookie name is what? Cookie name is username. And what is the value? Value comes from user details dot username, and cookie options, cookie set options. These are temporary. If you want, you can configure, right? It's not mandatory. If you don't give the options, that is temporary cookie. If you want, you can define the path. Path I will give as slash, and we have expires. Expires is equal to new date, and you have to give 2022. So, and year, month, so suppose 7 and 02 day. I defined like this. You can put a time also. That means I can keep 2022 like this. So you can configure the date and time, and you can define the expire date and time here. You can configure. If expires is not defined, you can just give date. Then what it will do, it will take time. If you don't give date and time, suppose there is another option. If you simply put like this, it will load current date. That is JavaScript, right? It loads current date. Current date means it will expire after current date. That means when date changes, automatically it will expire. Right? That depends on how you configure this. Okay. This is cookie set. Okay. After cookie set, I will just put an alert. So I will simply put a message saying that login success. Just message I will give, login success. But still we are not writing any login logic here, right? That we are going to do in routing. In routing, we are going to do that. After login success, they will go to home page after setting the cookie there. Initially, this is fine. We are just configuring it. Now we will do one more thing is we will access the cookie and we will display the cookie. For example, here after login button here, I will put a heading. So this is like just like home, and here I will keep a horizontal line HR. Okay, and here I will just put a option that is user details dot what not user details. This is cookies, cookies dot cookie name. What is it? Username. I will just keep here as hello and that username. Just temporarily I am accessing the cookie. How to access cookie? We saw that. Initially, this is the basic thing. Now we have to write. So on change is equal to handle user name. So here on change. So handle password, only password, yes, handle password, handle username, and on click. So we have to define handle login. These are the basics, right? That is all we defined up to now. Remove is not there still yet, right? We will put the remove option also here. Okay, now let's run this and see here. That is the output here. Now we need to create the cookies and configure them. We'll do one thing here. What we will do is right click, inspect, and in the inspect, you go to application category. There you will see cookies. In application category, you can see storage. So we have session storage and you have cookie storage. In the cookie storage, you can see cookies of this particular local host currently empty. There is no cookie available. That means cookies are currently empty. Nothing is available. Now I will enter username David_NIT and password some David123 something. So yeah. And after that, I click on login. Then it says login success. And okay, that means the cookie is created. So actually the cookie is created. So you see here, the cookie is created and it is displaying here. It is not shown here because actually we have to refresh. When you refresh, you can see the cookie is created by name username. And this is the cookie value. What is the cookie value available? And it will display here. This is localhost. When it expires, all details are there here. Actually, I will zoom this. That means it will put when it expires, what is its path, everything will be there. Right? That means now a cookie is configured here and cookie is available here. Now, what the point here is, we are collecting the cookie and displaying. Actually, we will do in the next screen. In the next screen, they will log in and they will verify. Generally, what should happen is, if cookie is already available, so then we have to ask him to just continue. If not available, then ask to login. That is the technique actually. How we do that? Generally, for that we need writer logic. Now, how to delete cookie? So to delete cookie, so one more option we have to do. What I will do is, here in the home page, I will put a button and I will put a class name as BTN and BTN link, and I will say sign out. Okay. So I will keep that sign out here. There is sign out option here. You see, I'm refreshing the page. So login screen is empty, but still user logged in. User information is there. Even I am refreshing the page. That means I am newly logging in again. Still it is there. Because cookie is still available. When I click on sign out, that cookie must be deleted. The cookie must be deleted. When I click on sign out, it must be removed. That means what we will do here is we will write a function here. We will write a function. What is it? Handle sign out. Handle sign out. What should happen? We have to use remove cookie. And the cookie name is username. And we will put an alert saying that signed out. So signed out successfully. This message will display. Signed out successfully, that message is going to display, right? So here, so this is the message we are defining. Okay. And on click. So we have to handle sign out. We have to define handle sign out. Now I will refresh here. You can see the cookie is still there. I will do one thing. I will close the browser. I will open the browser again and request this application localhost 3000. And you can see here cookie is still there. Even I close the browser, I am still logged in. Until I sign out. Okay, that means I delete this permanently. Let's go. This cookie is still there. I click on sign out, signed out successfully. Okay. That means once it is okay, you can see no cookie. Cookie is deleted. That means it's not there here. Again, I entered some username John1112, some password, and click on login success, and the cookie is created. Now you can see the cookie is available. And when I click on signed out successfully, then it is not available. And you can see there is no cookie. Actually, you can delete from there also. Say login You see logged in success, and you can see here cookie is there. I can right click and delete here also, because cookies can be deleted from anywhere. You can delete from your browser history, right? So you can delete cookies from anywhere. That means it's not necessary that you sign out. That means without using sign out, you can still sign out just by deleting the cookie, right? You delete the cookie means signed out, right? That is how we can use. This is basically how we manage. Now the question is, how do you verify cookie available or not? How you verify and how we can define? Actually, signed out successfully. Generally for that, I told you one technique. What we do is we write the condition. Suppose here I'm writing completely here a div, a container. Actually, just roughly I am showing. Actually, we have to write on use effects. We need to write on use effects, because here we are not supposed to write the conditions. We have to define use effects. Actually, what we do is, I will tell you. Generally, what we do here is we will write use effects. So use effect, and here we usually write one simple logic. Actually, logic is nothing but if cookies dot username, so username, yeah, cookies dot username is equal to undefined. If cookies dot username is undefined, this is what we have to use. Cookies dot username. Yeah. Cookies dot username is undefined. If cookies dot username is undefined, that means it is not there. If it is not undefined, what we can do is we can put a message saying that please log in. We can put a message, please log in. That we will do later, right? Because for that we need conditional rendering, and we can render the content conditionally, right? We can do it in the later stage. Actually, so I will lengthy logic is there, but I will just put a simple point here. We'll do one thing. I will put a console logger, or I will just put an option like alert. So please log in, right? I will put this option, please log in. So if cookie is undefined, otherwise it will not ask please log in. Okay, that is what we are verifying, and you can see it is asking please log in. When I refresh this page, it is asking please log in. Why it is asking please log in? Because there is no cookie. So what we will do here, so we will enter the details and password and login. It is logged in success. Now again I will refresh. It is not asking please log in. Whenever I refresh again, it is not asking please log in. Why? Because already logged in. Already we are logged in. So it is not asking to log in. It is not asking to log in. If I sign out, okay. After I sign out and again I click refresh this, and it says please log in. That means it is verifying that cookie is not there. Later what we will do is, when anybody opens our home page, we will verify if cookie is enabled. That means he have to log in and configure cookies. Sign in, sign out like option. This is the complete, the base example of how we can work with the cookies. This is the example of cookies, right? So one more here we have learned cookies. Another one more option is there, use reducer. Reducer. Actually, this is related to the concept of Redux. Earlier, we have to depend on a separate third-party jQuery JavaScript library called Redux. And now we don't need that actually. But anyhow, I will tell you, Later in some companies, you have to use Redux. I will tell you separately how to use Redux. But in current latest version of React, you don't need that. There is a separate Redux library inbuilt hook. We can just use that Redux library. Redux, how it works, what is the role and responsibility, what it contains, because Redux is a very big library. So Redux, yeah, Redux is very big one, right? This is state container for JavaScript apps. Many times people ask like, will you teach Redux in Angular? Will you teach Redux in React and all this? But actually Redux is a JavaScript library. Don't link with only Angular and React. It is everywhere. Every JavaScript based application can use this Redux. And what is this is nothing but it is already telling na state container for JavaScript apps. Already you have use state, already you have context, already you have cookies. What else this can do now? That means you can maintain value for application using cookie for all components. You can maintain for a component. Then what is the responsibility of this? Right? So it is a predictable state container. What does that means? How this is not externally required in the latest version directly, how we can use internally, we will see. That we'll see tomorrow, right? In tomorrow's session, at least it will take 2-3 days about Redux to understand and learn with good example. We will see that, right? Tomorrow we'll continue. Okay, right.